Unlocking the silent power, mastering calmness for total control. Ever noticed that in every room there's always someone who seems to have all the power without even saying a word? It's not the loudest person, nor the one constantly talking. It's the one who stays silent, watches, and controls everything. This type of power isn't loud, it's subtle. It sneaks in unnoticed, and before you know it, it's already won. While everyone else is caught up in the chaos, those who have mastered silent timing and emotional control stand tall, effortlessly dominating. But why does calmness hold such power? In a world obsessed with noise, it's the quiet ones who often rule. Calmness isn't a weakness, it's a strength. It is emotional intelligence in action. Imagine this: when emotions are running high and chaos is all around, the person who remains centered becomes the anchor that everyone else subconsciously gravitates toward, not because of fear, but because of respect, awe, and curiosity. When everyone else is reacting, they are observing, strategizing, and staying in control. In this video, we're diving into the 7 unbreakable rules of absolute dominance, where Stoic principles are turned into powerful psychological tools. Are you ready to discover how you can gain control, not through loud confrontation, but through total self-mastery? Here's the thing: why do so many people lose before the game even starts? The answer is simple. They react. Think about it. How often have you walked into a situation already tense, already triggered? Someone says something offensive and boom, you explode. Or you receive a passive-aggressive jab and your response is immediate. But guess what? When you react like that, you're not controlling the situation, it's controlling you. This is exactly what Epictetus warned us about. It's not what happens to you, but how you respond that truly matters. If someone can press a button and make you angry, then you're not in control. You're just a puppet being pulled by invisible strings. Those who want to manipulate or dominate you, they're waiting for you to react. They're watching for your triggers. They're observing how quickly you defend yourself, how your face changes when they touch a sensitive spot. Every visible emotional reaction reveals part of your strategy, giving them more insight into your weaknesses. Here's the twist: calmness isn't natural, it's trained. We're not born with the ability to stay calm under pressure. It's a skill we must cultivate through self-discipline. Calmness must be forged, repeated, and honed. It's not just about staying cool when your ego is under attack. It's about practicing mental detachment, controlling your breath, and visualizing your response before you even step into the situation. When you're calm, your mind is clear, your vision sharp, and you have the advantage of seeing what others miss in their emotional storms. But calmness is far from passive. It's one of the most strategic tools in your arsenal. Some might confuse calmness for indifference, thinking you're weak or passive. They assume you're not engaged because you don't clap back immediately, because you let people speak without interruption. Let them believe that. Let that illusion become your camouflage. Stillness is power. Silence creates tension. And the truth is, people fear what they can't read. When you're calm, others can't gauge what you're thinking, how much you know, or what you're planning. This fear, it becomes your advantage. Real-life example. Imagine a high-stakes boardroom negotiation. 2 executives are pitching a major partnership. One is loud, animated, trying to sell hard, cracking jokes, adding pressure. The other, they sit still, observing occasionally, asking sharp questions. 10 minutes in, the loud one starts unraveling, overselling and rambling. The calm executive leans forward, just once delivers one perfect line. "You've given me a lot of enthusiasm, but very little data." Boom. Silence. And the game is over. That's the power of calmness. It doesn't need volume. It doesn't scream for attention. It waits, then strikes with precision. Now, if you want to own the room without saying a word, it's time to build your fortress one of stoic calm. But remember, this calmness doesn't happen overnight. It requires daily rituals, practiced patience, and emotional control. Are you ready to start building that fortress today? Stay tuned, because the journey to mastering calmness is just beginning. Building the fortress, small steps to total control. Now that we've explored the power of calmness, let's talk about how you can start training yourself to master it. The path to control begins with small, deliberate actions, each one an essential step in crafting your mental fortress. These aren't just random techniques. They're methods that have been proven to sharpen your focus, refine your presence, and enhance your emotional intelligence. So are you ready to begin? 1. Morning silence. The first step is deceptively simple. When you wake up, don't touch your phone for the first 30 minutes. Sounds easy, right? But here's the trick this time, is for you to center your mind. Let it settle. Don't rush into the chaos of notifications or emails. Instead, sit in silence, focus on your breath, and just listen to your thoughts. This practice teaches you the art of responding, not reacting. You're setting the tone for the rest of your day, calm and centered. 2. The pause rule. Have you ever been triggered by something someone said? It's easy to feel defensive and rush into a response, but here's where the magic happens. The next time someone says something that gets under your skin, pause. Count to 3. Give yourself those few precious seconds to decide whether to respond at all. Most importantly, don't respond impulsively. Those 3 seconds are enough to break the cycle of reaction, giving you control over how you engage. 3. Reflective journaling. At the end of each day, take a moment to reflect. Ask yourself, when did I lose my calm today? What triggered me? By naming the trigger, you take its power away. When you write down your emotional responses, you begin to see patterns and weaknesses. This is how you start taking the emotional charge out of those triggers, rendering them powerless in the future. 4. Cold exposure. Yes, you heard that right, cold showers or ice baths. Not for TikTok clout, but to train your nervous system to stay calm under pressure. Cold exposure is a powerful way to reset your body's stress response. The shock of cold water forces you to stay present, breathe deeply, and overcome your body's initial panic. Over time, this builds mental resilience, helping you stay calm when stress hits. 5. Control breathing box. When stress levels rise, our minds tend to spiral. One simple technique to regain control is the box breathing method. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds, then hold again for 4 seconds. This pattern helps reset your nervous system, refocuses your mind, and brings you back to a state of calm. Practice it regularly so that it becomes second nature, and you'll find yourself staying composed in the most intense situations. As you continue to build your emotional control, remember this: calmness is rare, and anything rare becomes valuable. In a world full of noise and chaos, your ability to remain still, centered, and unreactive is a secret weapon. The ones who try to dominate through shouting and pressure are wasting their energy. Meanwhile, you dominate through presence. The power of silence. Think about it. How many times have you been in a room where someone's loud, boastful, and dominating the conversation? They're exhausting themselves. But when you walk in with a quiet, composed presence, something shifts. You don't need to speak louder. Your very presence in the room makes others notice you. It's not about raising your voice, it's about raising your aura. Remember, silence is power. It's the stillness at the center of a storm. Let the chaos swirl around you, but don't let it enter you. The person who remains calm doesn't just survive the battle, they own the battlefield. Strategic listening. Now let's talk about the art of listening. It's not just about hearing words, it's about understanding what's beneath them. In any situation, whether it's business negotiation or relationships, the one who speaks first often reveals their hand. It's a powerful tactic that the Stoics mastered long before psychology caught up. As they say, it is better to remain silent and be thought a fool than to speak and remove all doubt. But strategic listening isn't just about silence, it's about listening with intent. When you let someone speak, you're not just waiting for your turn to talk, you're listening to extract the hidden truths. What are they afraid of? What are they trying to hide? Most people leak these clues unconsciously through their tone, rhythm, and word choices. And when you're calm, centered, and unreactive, you can catch every single one of them. The power of questions. Questions are often more dangerous than direct confrontation. Why? Because they don't provoke defenses. They invite exposure. The right question asked at the right time can unravel someone's narrative. It's not an attack, it's a mirror. Try asking questions like, what makes you say that? Why do you think that matters? How did you come to that conclusion? These simple, calm questions cause people to trip over their own words. They reveal inconsistencies, weaknesses, and often things they never intended to share. And while they're busy revealing their secrets, you're sitting back observing and gathering information, mastering your expression. None of this works if your face betrays you. Imagine you're sitting in a meeting trying to stay composed, but your eyebrows raise every time someone says something shocking, or your tone shifts when you're offended. Your face, your posture, your every expression gives away your emotional state. To master calmness, you must also master your expressions. Keep your poker face in check, stay neutral, and you'll remain unreadable, your true power. Now that you have the tools to build your fortress, the question remains, will you practice these steps consistently and unlock the true power of calmness? The choice is yours. The power of neutrality, mastering influence without saying a word. Now that we've explored how silence and calmness can give you the upper hand, let's dive deeper into the subtle but powerful role of neutrality. It's not just about being silent, it's about being in control of your emotional responses and choosing your actions with intention. You see, true power doesn't always come from speaking the loudest or reacting first. It comes from mastering your inner world and knowing exactly when to speak and when to stay quiet. Train your neutrality. When a topic hits your ego, it's easy to lose your composure and fall into the trap of reacting emotionally. But when you do that, you lose your edge. So how do you avoid it? By training yourself to remain neutral. In every conversation, practice keeping your jaw relaxed, your body calm, and your mind sharp. Respond slowly, intentionally, as someone with nothing to prove. This isn't about being fake, it's about embodying true self-mastery. Here's the secret. The more neutral you are, the more power you hold. People will sense that you're not easily rattled, and that uncertainty about your thoughts will make them cautious. They'll begin to wonder, what's he really thinking? Why isn't she reacting? That curiosity alone demands respect. And in that moment, you're no longer playing the game. they are. The strategic power of "I don't know." One of the most powerful phrases in psychological dominance is incredibly simple. I don't know. Follow it up with a casual, "What do you think?" and watch how people drop their guard. They'll assume you're not a threat, and in their openness, they'll keep talking, exposing their true thoughts, fears, and insecurities. Meanwhile, you remain calm, composed, and in total control. This phrase allows you to keep your advantage hidden, because the moment you start flexing your knowledge, you risk revealing your true level. But when you keep others guessing, you force them into a position of uncertainty. This brings us to the biggest mistake many people make. When they feel confident, they reveal it too early. You might be tempted to correct someone, win a small argument, or show how much you know, but by doing so, you reveal your cards. You want them to ask, what's really going on in their mind? Why aren't they reacting? That uncertainty breeds caution and ultimately respect. The art of listening. Let others fall in love with their own voice. In a world obsessed with speaking, choose to be the one who listens. Let others fill the air with their words while you gather the information you need. As they talk, they'll reveal more than they realize. When the time comes for you to act, you won't need to raise your voice. You'll already know exactly where to strike and how hard. Think about it. You can't outfight someone who knows your every move, but you can always outmaneuver someone who's too eager to show you theirs. This is how the quiet win. This is how the calm conquer. This is how the wise dominate. True power doesn't announce itself. It doesn't shout. It doesn't seek validation. It simply exists, steady, silent, and undeniable. The invisible hand of influence. The greatest leaders don't need to command people to follow. They lead by their very presence. People don't need to be told, "Follow me." They just do. That's the true advantage, being able to shape outcomes without forcing them, to influence minds without needing credit, and to lead without ever showing your hand. When you choose influence over control, you become a force that others can't resist. The insecure seek control. They micromanage, they dominate with volume, and they try to own people. But what's the result? Resistance, rebellion, fragility. They may control in the moment, but their hold is weak. Influence is stronger than control. On the other hand, the truly powerful inspire direction without ever issuing orders. They plant ideas, not commands. They suggest, not dictate. They listen, not perform. That's psychological leadership at its finest, and it's far more effective than brute control. When you walk into a room, people adjust. They sit straighter. They speak more carefully. Not because you've said a word, but because your very presence commands respect. You don't need to beg for attention. You don't need to force anyone to follow. Your energy speaks volumes before you even open your mouth. The power of your posture and eye contact. It's all in the details. Your posture radiates composure. Your eye contact is calm, not confrontational. Your words are slow, deliberate, and surgical. This is the power of quiet dominance. You're not pretending to be stoic. You're embodying a mindset that doesn't react to every minor disturbance. You've got nothing to prove, and that unbothered certainty makes people want to follow your lead without you asking them to. Planting ideas, the art of suggestion. Here's a secret strategy. Let others believe your idea was theirs. This might sound subtle, but it's one of the most advanced strategies in human interaction. Instead of saying, "You should do it this way," ask, "Have you considered this angle?" Instead of saying, "My way is better," suggest, "What do you think would happen if we tried a different approach?" By doing this, You allow others to own the conclusion while still guiding them in the direction you want. Their ego gets a chance to breathe and they feel like they're in control. As long as the outcome works in your favor, does it matter who gets the credit? The true power lies in controlling the frame, not the fight. This is how empires are built, not through shouting, but through strategic influence. The most powerful people in the world don't need to dominate with force. They dominate with presence, subtlety, and the unshakable certainty of their calm. Mastering the conversation. Leading with silence and strategy. As we've discussed, true power comes from remaining calm and in control. But it's not just about staying quiet, it's about how you guide the conversation, shifting its course with subtlety and finesse. While others are caught up in arguments and debates, you can lead with strategy and clarity, avoiding the traps they fall into. Control the frame, not the details. Many people get caught up in trying to prove they're right in a conversation or debate. But here's the thing, if you're focused on proving your point, you've already entered their game. Instead, shift the entire context. Control the premise of the conversation. For example, let's say someone criticizes your idea. Rather than defending it directly, try saying, "That's an interesting perspective, but I'm more focused on the long-term impact rather than immediate results." Just like that, you've taken the conversation onto your terms. You've redirected the energy without confrontation, and now the discussion is about something broader and more strategic. They wanted a fight. You gave them elegance. That's the essence of leadership without force. You detach from the outcome. You guide the flow. Detach from the outcome. This is where Stoic philosophy becomes incredibly powerful. You don't need to win every battle. In fact, it's far more effective to prefer to win rather than clinging to the need to win. When you detach emotionally from the outcome, you remain in control psychologically. You're not desperate to convince anyone. You're not afraid to walk away from a conversation. And if your idea gets ignored, it doesn't shake you because you know that in time, it will resurface. This mental freedom is what allows you to navigate any situation, whether social, political, or emotional, with clarity and calm. You flow. You don't force. You guide. You don't grab. Those who are frantic to win short-term arguments burn out quickly. But you conserve your energy and play the long game. Real-world power. The Marcus Aurelius strategy. Think about Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor. He didn't bark orders. He didn't manipulate with threats. Instead, he led with reason, dignity, and example. When his generals failed, he didn't humiliate them. He asked questions. He listened. He adapted. He understood that true leadership doesn't require flexing power. The results speak for themselves louder than any ego ever could. If you want to apply this today, here's a tip. If someone opposes you, don't react. Instead, ask for their perspective. Let them speak fully, listen attentively, and then thank them for their honesty. Once emotions are lowered, reason steps in, and that's when you have the opportunity to shift the direction of the conversation subtly. When reason leads you, win quietly. Those who need to prove they're right have already lost. People who always need to prove they're right, they've already lost. Why? Because they're trapped in the noise. Meanwhile, those who quietly guide with presence and clarity are the ones who truly own the room and the respect that comes with it. The most dangerous piece on the chessboard isn't the one that moves the fastest, it's the one that no one sees coming. Be that piece. Lead silently, influence strategically, and outsmart everyone without ever revealing your hand. Empires built on speed versus strength. There's a reason why empires fall. They're built on speed, ego, and short-term victories. But legends, they last. Legends are forged in patience. They're built with clarity and strengthened through challenges. That's how the wise outsmart the world. They play the long game. Most people are addicted to the now. Just take a look around you. People are in a rush to get rich, to be noticed, to win today. But what happens? They burn out. They chase fleeting rewards, trading long-term greatness for short-term dopamine. It's like trying to win at chess by thinking only one move ahead. Sure, you might win a piece, but you'll lose the whole game. The Stoic advantage. Think in decades, not days. The Stoics taught one of the most strategic truths ever spoken. Don't aim to seem wise, aim to become it. Epictetus reminds us that you don't need to impress anyone right now. You need to become someone undeniable later. This means skipping easy applause, enduring boring disciplines, and building your success in silence. While others are broadcasting their progress, you're quietly building. And when the rewards of the long game start to compound, you'll find yourself still moving, calm, deliberate, and unstoppable, while they've burned out chasing instant gratification. The quick win trap versus the long game. Let's break this down with an example. You're in a debate and your opponent throws a petty jab. It would be easy to throw a clever insult back to make everyone laugh, to win the moment. But that's a trap. Sure, the crowd laughs, your ego swells, but you've lost something far bigger, your control. You've turned the conversation into a battle of pride, not principle. Instead, take the long game approach. Pause, smile, say nothing. That silence, that restraint echoes louder than any comeback. You didn't just win the moment, you won the frame. You established yourself as the higher presence, the one who doesn't need to bite back because you're not threatened. That's the kind of victory that sticks long after the noise has died down. The compound effect of strategic silence. Think of every small decision you make like a drop of water. At first, each drop seems insignificant, but over time they accumulate into a powerful force. Strategic silence, when practiced consistently, creates a steady, undeniable current of influence that no one can resist. The long game. How patience builds unstoppable power. As we've explored, patience is key to true power. It's not just about waiting. It's about investing in yourself, your skills, your mind, your emotional control. While others rush to satisfy their impulses, you're quietly building something much more valuable. You're playing the long game, and that's where your power lies. The power of delayed gratification. It's easy to get caught up in the rush for instant rewards, the quick fix, the applause, the instant satisfaction. But here's the secret over time. Those fleeting moments of excitement don't add up. What truly matters is the compound effect. Small, consistent actions day after day form something much larger. A trickle of water becomes an ocean, one drop at a time. That's the power of delayed gratification, and it terrifies people who live for immediate pleasure. You invest in your skills. You sharpen your mind. You manage your emotions and conserve your energy. While others chase followers, you build influence. While they chase revenge, you build peace. In the end, the one who can wait, who can stay grounded, always outlasts the one who's rushing to win. The person who masters patience, who isn't desperate for the instant victory, is the one who ultimately controls the game. Mastering patience. Mastering power. Most people act on impulse. They say whatever comes to mind, react to every provocation, and leap at every opportunity, even if it leads nowhere. But not you. You're built differently. You wait. You listen longer than they expect. You observe longer than they can handle. You prepare more thoroughly than anyone believes necessary. And when you finally act, it's decisive. It's final. It's dominant. Because you didn't react. You were calculating. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in Rome, understood this. In his private journal, he wrote, "A cucumber is bitter. Throw it away. There are brambles in the path. Go around." That is enough. His message is simple. Don't demand the world conform to your expectations. Life isn't always smooth, but don't let temporary discomfort knock you off course. The Stoic leader understands that life is long and ego is impatient. Choose life. This is the mindset of someone building a legacy, not chasing likes. You're not in a race for applause. You're playing for something far more valuable: mastery. Winning in silence. While others burn out, people will mock your discipline. They'll call you boring, too serious, too calm. But while they're distracted by their need for instant gratification, you're collecting compound interest in knowledge, in strength, in control. And when the time comes to act, you won't need noise or drama. You'll just act, and by then it will already be too late for them to catch up. That's the cruel poetry of the long game. The ones who laughed at your patience will be the ones begging for your guidance. And in that moment, when they realize their mistakes, you'll stand tall, unshaken, and ready for whatever comes next. Short-term thinkers versus long-term builders. Here's the truth. Short-term thinkers want to win the room. Long-term thinkers build the entire building. Don't trade depth for speed. Don't trade endurance for ego. Don't trade clarity for applause. The one who plays the long game wins without rushing, influences without pushing, and dominates without trying. Let them chase the moment. You're chasing mastery. Power doesn't come from aggression or noise. It comes from composure, from being the calmest one in the room while everyone else is reacting. Think about it. The most powerful player in the game isn't the loudest or the most aggressive. It's the one who doesn't flinch, the one whose calmness unsettles others. Emotion is either your greatest ally or your greatest weakness. Master your emotions. Master your life. You are not your emotions, but if you don't master them, they will control you. Think about how often your emotions try to take over. When someone offends you, your instinct is to retaliate. When you're scared, your mind screams for you to escape. When you're hurt, your ego demands validation. But here's the trap. The moment you react without thinking, you've given them control of your mind. You've handed them the remote to your inner peace. This is how most people lose, not because they lack intelligence, but because they lack emotional discipline. The narcissist's playground, emotional triggers. Manipulators, narcissists, and toxic people thrive on emotional reactivity. They test your buttons, poke at your insecurities, and feed you half-truths to provoke outrage. Why? Because every emotional reaction you give is leverage. The more predictable your emotional state becomes, the easier it is for them to control your decisions. They don't need to outthink you. They just need you to self-destruct. The moment you become unshakable when your emotions no longer control you, they lose the game entirely. And that's when you become truly powerful. When you control your emotional responses, you control the environment in business, in love, in arguments, and in life. The final word. So remember this. The most powerful player isn't the loudest or the most aggressive. It's the one who remains calm when everyone else is reacting. It's the one who can wait, prepare, and act decisively. And when you master your emotions, you'll never let anyone control your peace again. The power of emotional control. Respond, don't react. As we've seen, mastering patience and emotional control is essential to becoming truly powerful. Now let's take that a step further. How do we respond when we're provoked? How do we remain composed when every instinct is telling us to react? The key lies in understanding the difference between reacting and responding. The art of emotional control. Observe, don't absorb. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." This is Stoic clarity. The truth is, you don't have to absorb every insult, every rude tone, or engage in every emotional storm. Instead, you observe, label it, and let it pass by. You train your mind to respond, never to react. When you react, you are controlled by the situation. But when you respond, you are the one in command. This simple shift in mindset allows you to take control of your emotions and the situation itself. The power of a paused mind. Imagine this. You're in a heated meeting and someone challenges your idea in front of the entire room. You feel your chest tightening, your body instinctively gearing up for a fight. Here's the difference between the average person and someone who has mastered emotional control. The average person snaps back, raises their voice, and defends themselves aggressively. But the strategist, the person who has learned to control their emotions, pauses. They take a deep breath. They speak in a slow, composed tone, not to suppress their anger, but to signal control. In that moment, everything changes. The room shifts. People no longer remember what was said. They remember how you handled it. That calmness, that poise becomes your edge. Emotional intelligence becomes your strategic dominance. Emotional control in high stakes. In high-performance environments like the military elite, sports, and high-stakes negotiations, there's one universal truth. He who stays calm wins. Why? Because emotions cloud judgment. Fear shrinks opportunity. Pride blinds reason. But when you are emotionally centered, you can see what others miss. You can sense weakness before it shows. You anticipate conflict before it erupts. And perhaps most importantly, you become impossible to manipulate. Story time. The unbothered leader. Let me share a story about a general in the midst of chaos. His troops had been ambushed. Panic was spreading. Soldiers were shouting, running in confusion. But the general, he sat quietly, calmly boiling tea. His officers yelled at him, "We're under attack." He simply replied, "I make better decisions with a clear mind and warm hands." Later, he led his troops to a flawless counterattack because he waited for the storm inside him to pass before he confronted the storm outside. This wasn't detachment, it was domination through emotional regulation, the manipulator's nightmare. Here's a hard truth. Some people will try to trigger you, not because they care, but because your reaction feeds their ego. They insult you, you lash out, and they smile. You've just danced to their tune. But when you don't react, when you look them in the eye and stay calm, they feel powerless. Your silence sends a clear message. You don't control me anymore. That's how you reclaim your peace, your space, and your authority. Practical mastery. How to control emotions in real time. Mastering. Emotional control isn't about being cold or detached. It's about being in command of yourself in every situation. Here are 5 steps to help you control your emotions in real time. 1. Label it. When you feel an emotion rising, name it. This is anger. This is fear. This is ego. Naming the emotion separates you from it. You are not your emotions. You are simply experiencing them. 2. Delay your response. Insert time before taking action. Even just 10 seconds can change the outcome of a situation. This pause helps you respond thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively. 3. Control your breath. Your breath controls your nervous system. Slow, deep breaths calm your mind, allowing you to think clearly even in tense moments. 4. Shift your perspective. Ask yourself, will this matter in 5 days, 5 months, 5 years? Most of the time, the answer will be no. This shift in perspective helps you realize that the storm you're experiencing is temporary. 5. Speak low and slow. Never raise your voice. Speaking in a calm, measured tone not only keeps you in control, but it also projects confidence and authority. The most dangerous minds speak slowly and softly. Final thought. Emotional control is superiority. Emotional control is not weakness. It's superiority. Don't confuse stillness with softness. The Stoic who doesn't scream back isn't scared, they're just too powerful to be provoked. When others are enslaved by their emotions, you become a fortress, not cold, but composed, not numb, but wise, not reactive, but responsive, because in every game, whether in boardrooms or on battlefields, the winner is not the one who feels the most. It's the one who uses their feelings as fuel, not as a leash. Let others rage. Let them spiral. Let them destroy themselves, chasing dominance through noise. You, on the other hand, will win in silence because the calmest one in the room always has the advantage. The power of silence, mastering invisibility and strategic control. As we've learned, emotional control and patience are essential in the game of power. But there's another key element that often goes unnoticed in visibility. In a world obsessed with showing off, sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is remain unseen, operating in silence. This subtle strategy can be your greatest weapon. Invisibility is your weapon. You don't need to announce your plans. You don't need to explain your moves or seek applause for progress that no one sees. The most dangerous power is the one that's never seen coming. When you keep your intentions to yourself, you avoid inviting envy, criticism, and sabotage. Every time you speak too soon or reveal too much, you awaken resistance before you've built the strength to face it. The Stoics understood this deeply. Work in silence and let your success make the noise. Marcus Aurelius knew that the most powerful transformations happen in the shadows, away from the spotlight. They happen when you remove yourself from distraction's shallow praise and people who never deserve to see your blueprint. Because when you're invisible, you're untouchable. That's the power of the element of surprise, the most underrated force in any game of power. The element of surprise, a tactic that always wins. In every game, whether it's chess, business politics, or relationships, the most underestimated force is the element of surprise. Think about it. You can't defend against what you don't see. By staying silent about your growth, your ambitions, or your next move, you deny your opposition the chance to block you. And by the time they realize what you've become, it's already too late for them to do anything about it. This is what separates the true operators from the amateurs. Amateurs perform, they seek the spotlight, they talk, they boast. But professionals prepare quietly. They work in the grey zone, a place where real power grows. Growth isn't flashy. It's not loud. It doesn't come with likes or followers. It comes from shutting off the noise, turning inward and working in the dark day after day. This is the grey zone, a place of solitude and sacrifice. Nobody claps, nobody sees, and most won't understand. But that's where your edge is forged. Building in silence. The quiet rise. Picture this: you're in a company where everyone is busy proving themselves, talking, posturing, showing off. But not you. You observe. You study the system, the power structures, the weaknesses. You don't beg for recognition. You don't expose your ambitions. Instead, you quietly build your skills in silence. Then one day, the right opportunity opens up, and you strike not emotionally, not impulsively, but strategically. The room is stunned. They wonder, where did this come from? That's the point. They were looking in the wrong direction because you were playing the long game in silence. Silence confuses the weak. Your silence will confuse the weak. Weak people need constant validation. They panic in silence. They fear being overlooked. But silence isn't your weakness. It's your discipline. It means you're not here to impress anyone. You're here to execute. Every day you stay silent about your plans. You sharpen your blade. Every day you resist the urge to overshare. You train your focus. You become the ghost in the game, unseen, unpredictable, unstoppable. Modern Stoicism. The art of strategic invisibility. The Stoic doesn't parade their strength. They don't need to be understood, liked, or acknowledged. Instead, they remain grounded in the truth that the more you say, the more you give away. The more you show, the more your enemies can aim at. Modern Stoicism isn't just about calm, it's about camouflage. It's about learning to operate without ego, mastering yourself in secret, and becoming so dangerous that you never need to prove it to anyone. Tactic: leave. No clues. Now let's make this practical. Here's how to become invisible in a world that craves attention. 1. Keep goals private. Never announce your plans before you've executed them. Not because you're secretive, but because you're strategic. By keeping your goals to yourself, you prevent others from interfering or trying to sabotage your progress. 2. Withdraw emotionally. Don't let your emotions spill into every interaction. When you withdraw emotionally, you prevent people from reading you. You stay unpredictable, calm, and in control, which is exactly what makes you dangerous. By operating in silence and remaining invisible, you control the narrative. Your moves become unpredictable, and your presence becomes powerful without anyone ever needing to see it. So remember, the less you show, the more you control. The power of silence, staying unpredictable and untouchable. As we've discussed, the key to true power lies in emotional control, patience, and strategic invisibility. Now let's dive deeper into how you can master the art of being unreadable. It's not just about staying silent, it's about creating mystery, staying unpredictable and positioning yourself so that when the time comes to strike, no one will see it coming. Don't react, don't defend, don't explain. You don't need to react to every provocation. You don't need to defend yourself, and you certainly don't need to explain yourself. Keep them guessing. In a world where everyone is eager to prove their point, those who remain silent and composed have the upper hand. It's all about creating an aura of mystery around you. When people can't predict your next move, they can't prepare for it. And when they can't read your emotions, they can't manipulate you. Build in isolation. The most powerful transformations don't happen on stage. They happen in the shadows. They happen when you remove yourself from distractions, shallow praise, and unnecessary attention. This is where true power is forged. Build in isolation. Create without applause. Transform in silence. Let your results speak louder than any words or noise. Play dumb when needed. Sometimes the most powerful tactic is to play dumb. Don't reveal how much you know. Let people underestimate you. When others think they know your limits, they stop perceiving you as a threat. It's a psychological game. By holding back your true capabilities, you leave them vulnerable. Detach from validation. The less you need to be seen or validated, the more powerful you become. People who constantly seek approval are easily manipulated. But when you're detached from the need to be acknowledged, you're free to operate with complete control. You don't need recognition or applause. You don't need to be the center of attention. You've transcended that need, and in doing so, you've gained a level of power that others can't touch. The art of unreadability. Being unreadable is one of the most powerful psychological plays you can make. The Stoic warrior isn't unreadable because they hide their emotions. They are unreadable because they're free from the need to be seen. Their silence is not passive, it's surgical. They don't need to explain their every move because their actions speak for themselves. And when others can't read you, they can't predict you, and they can't stop you. Let your victory speak for itself. Here's the final piece. Let your victory be the first time they see you. By the time they notice, by the time they ask, how did you do it? By the time they try to copy your moves, it's already too late. You've outgrown their tactics. You've surpassed their games. You've become untouchable. And it all happened in silence in the shadows, without them even realizing. In a room full of egos, be the quiet player. In a room full of egos, the most brilliant player is the one who doesn't look like a threat. They play dumb. They praise others. They hide the dagger behind a smile. True dominance isn't about looking powerful, it's about being powerful without needing the room to know it. Visibility triggers insecurity. There's an ancient law of power, and it's brutal: never outshine the master. You may think excellence is always rewarded, but in reality, when you shine too brightly, you don't earn admiration, you awaken insecurity. Your boss, your partner, or even your closest friends might feel threatened by your light if it casts a shadow over theirs. And when that happens, they don't praise you, they try to sabotage you. The Stoic response: outsmart, not outshine. The Stoic doesn't need to steal the spotlight. They don't feed on applause, ego, or recognition. Instead, they study people. They read the emotional temperature of the room and adapt accordingly. The Stoic knows how to play small while preparing big. They act humble while calculating everything in silence. This isn't deception, it's psychological jujutsu. Let others feel superior while you sharpen the blade in the background. The strategist in the shadows. Picture this: you work in a team where one person constantly takes credit. They dominate meetings, interrupt others, and treat silence as submission. Most people either fight back or shrink, but not you. You compliment them, you let them feel important, you offer ideas subtly, allowing them to deliver them publicly. Then one day, they fall. And guess who's already trusted, respected, and positioned to rise you? Not because you demanded attention, but because you earned quiet leverage while they were too busy performing. The quiet assassin's rule. The smartest operator follows a simple three-phase method. 1. Observe the power dynamics. Know who's insecure, who's watching, and who needs to feel superior. 2. Strategically dim your light. Don't reveal all your skills at once. Don't correct someone unless it serves a purpose. Don't always speak first or loudest. 3. Build behind the curtain. Cultivate relationships, accumulate knowledge, and sharpen your edge. By the time the stage is set, you'll be ready. Why most people fail. This rule. Most people fail because they can't tolerate being underestimated. They want recognition too early. They react to every slight. They need to be right. But power is like heat. The more you reveal, the more you're measured, targeted, and attacked. Stoic dominance doesn't work like that. It plays the long game, operating quietly, strategically, and with patience. The Stoic doesn't mind being overlooked. They prefer it because it keeps them out of the crosshairs until it's too late to stop them. Let others shine until it burns them. Let others shine until their shine burns them out. You don't need to dim anyone's light. Let them shine too brightly, let their ego take over. While they chase approval, you chase understanding. While they perform, you position yourself. And when they inevitably fall from exhaustion, ego, or exposure, you step in calm, ready, silent. And no one will call you lucky. You'll have earned your place quietly and strategically. Mastering self-control. Outlasting the noise and winning. Quietly, as we've seen, true power isn't about being the loudest or the most visible. It's about mastering yourself, remaining calm, and playing the long game. But one of the most critical elements of this strategy is the ability to control your ego. Your ego can be your greatest asset or your greatest downfall. Self-mastery over ego. The biggest threat to your power is your own ego. Think about it. When someone underestimates you, your pride wants to retaliate. When someone steals your idea, your pride wants to expose them. When someone is louder or more dominant, your pride urges you to silence them. But here's the truth. The Stoic doesn't need to win the moment. They're playing for the war. Every time you resist the urge to prove yourself, every time you step back instead of reacting, you're investing in your own quiet invincibility. It's psychological mastery. Don't be a threat. Be the solution. When people feel threatened by you, they will block you. But when they feel you're useful, when they sense your value without you needing to boast about it, they'll promote you. This is the key to operating strategically in any environment. Don't be the competition. Be the complement. Make your superiors feel safe. Make others feel important. Not because you lack value, but because you understand it. This understanding allows you to slip through defenses, outsmarting everyone without ever needing to outshine them. It's the art of strategic invisibility. The lasting power of influence. The final reminder here is that you don't win by being seen. You win by being remembered. Applause may be temporary, but influence is lasting. Don't strive to be the loudest in the room. Instead, be the most strategic. Let them discover your value when it's too late to compete with you. So sit back. Let them underestimate you. Let them grab the mic, the credit, the glory. Because when the dust settles and the real players rise, you won't just be visible, you'll be unforgettable. You were never meant to play small. You were never meant to play small, not in your career, not in your relationships, and certainly not in your life. You were meant to dominate quietly, to control outcomes, without noise, to win, without shouting about your victory. The 7 Stoic rules you've just learned aren't merely tactics, they're a way of life. They are a mindset for those who are done explaining themselves, a code for those who refuse to be manipulated, and a weapon for those who are tired of losing to louder, weaker people. The loudest are often the weakest. Remember, the loudest one in the room is often the weakest. The one who needs power the most is usually the one who doesn't have it. And the one who plays the long game, who waits, who watches, and who remains steady, always wins in the end. So, don't beg for respect. Command it. Command respect by how calmly, strategically, and powerfully you live. Outsmart them. Outlast them. And when the time is right, outplay them. When they ask, how did you do it? Just smile. Because the strongest don't explain. They execute. This is your moment. If this video has sparked something inside you, if you're finally ready to stop playing nice in a world built on strategy, then this is your moment. Subscribe to Think Stoic 101, because here we don't just talk about mindset, we forge it. Share this video with someone who needs to stop reacting and start ruling. And in the comments, tell me, which of the 7 Stoic rules are you mastering first? This isn't just motivation. This is mental warfare. And now you're armed.